talking about they would paint your black every day, and the right things they would never say, like our sportsmen being raped.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
So you see, friends, this is a real thing, so no man's mind. They just talk some nonsense. Me ain't know where they're doing it for. About so much violence, man, you would swear that we fighting war. Of course, we have
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, South, South Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the world wide web, a pleasant good day to you. Yes, of course, we have to talk about discipline, we have to talk about etiquette, we have to talk about preparedness and, of course, appropriateness for public life in Trinidad and Tobago. After all, if you are engaged in public life, it means, therefore, you are the representation of the culture, the values, and of course the moral and ethical standards that is expected of every single human being in the society called Trinidad and Tobago. And of course that is nurtured from within the confines of the family, and then of course it's extended either to the religious faith that one prescribes to or subscribes to, and then of course the education system is supposed to bring up the rear. And if you ain't learned from that, then of course, well, crapo smoke your pipe in the society, you will not be able to advance. But of course, let's hear the man who, of course, espoused a lot of those values, but at the end of the day turned out to be a hypocrite, a total narcissist, a total, of course, individual who, of course, clearly no one wants to follow, and therefore he is no role model or any kind of what I consider to be exemplar for young people in this country. Listen to him.
To teach us.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West. Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
And people, of course, that is not all. He is so misogynic, meaning that he's a hater of women, that the women who were asking him as Prime Minister to give them some guidance, to give them some protection, at least some advice. He told them in Maloney, listen, if your man beating you, then of course I ain't tell you what man to take and who to bring in the bedroom. That is what this man said. And that is typifying of what the PNM is all about, because we are seeing, of course, Penelope Beckles and her additional 12 blighted and cursed. Suddenly telling us that they love and that, of course, they care about ordinary persons who have children to go to school, and somehow conjuring up in their minds, totally hallucinating that the present government will, of course, leave them abandoned because of CPEP, you know, and URP, and of course the reforestation program. But you know, when he was saying that, Rowley was saying that, ugly man Rowley, you know, they remain silent. You remain silent. And when, of course, there were statements made by the then opposition that may, of course, reinforce their political survivability, the women's arm was quick to, of course, come out and talk. They didn't talk about when he said that women are like a golf course. No, they didn't come out. So therefore, we know that when they come out today, whether it be the former education minister, a woman called Dolly, believing that she's really a Dolly. I mean, it's the most asinine group of individuals you could ever think of to be in public life. The amount of doted statements that they make, I tell you, it is mind-boggling. But listen to them. Listen to the man that they supported in silence.
In the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, a clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, a clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, a clip of some school children.
Of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. I will be back in a moment. I have to fix, of course, the WhatsApp number. I omitted to do that earlier, so I'll have to do it. But in the meantime, of course, listen to this, what I consider to be misogynic, wicked, evil, diabolical, and ultimate symbol of what the PNM is. This is, of course, the Corridor Transformation, the Thursday edition. No program tomorrow. Not that I am yearning for it, but of course, as you know, I need the rest.
So much violence, man, you would swear that we're fighting war. Of course, we have we delinquents to face, but just like any other place, the things that I say about here is really too much for me to bear, because my people are daily making progress without any form of stupidness, and in this way we must gain success. For when we move in, we all move as one body, no bickering between you and me, for our policy stands for racial equality. Now when a stranger spending a little time in this lovely isle, every day you see him, he always have a heart to smile. When his time is up to depart, he would say with pride in heart, I'll be back, you could bet your life. And if I can't come, I will send my wife. And then he'll tell you, he really wants her to come, to drink some rum and have plenty fun in this great island in the sun. For Trinidadian, as foreigners do we call, it doesn't matter whether big or small, or if you're rich or poor, friends, we cater for one and all. So all of them were talking, they either drunk or they steering mad, or maybe they forgetting Mr. Universe belongs to Trinidad. And yet we have men of talent and skill with high hopes of
behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, a clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, a clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home. And this is 40 years I've been in politics. 40 years. 40 years later, you telling me about changing my approach to speaking.
Yes, it is. Of course, let's pause and here because, of course, like a tiger can't change his stripes, nor, of course, a leopard cannot change its spots. But that is what Rowley is, and therefore the PNM. He is the embodiment. He is the quintessential. He is, of course, the representation, the manifestation of the PNM. And let us not waste time with their, of course, crocodile tears and their, of course, wolf in sheep clothing scenarios up and down the country today. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and to all the listeners. Share a life. Tell the PNM, the 13 who voted for the 13 of them, that Uncle Lennox is on a topic to show all you and explain to all you how all was misled, misfed, and mislead over a precipice. So maybe it's in Picton or to jump off the cliff and go down in East Dry River. So Uncle Lennox is here. We want the 40,000, and if you have 10 cents, you will pass George Street and drop it out. We need every cent. In Beer take away the cent and penny.
So true, my friend, so true.
I
said so true, very, very sure, very certain, very real. We need the resources, but go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, so that is a paid political announcement on behalf of the Love Laventil and the Corridor Transformation.
I hear you.
Right. And being an honorary non-member, I just do a promo for you.
I hear you.
Here's what's going on.
Good. Yes.
I'm going to full people belly tonight. I don't like misleading information. And tell Gaspy Dolly, right, that the PNM had a stinking means test for the same CPEP people, and they could not get the book grant. And come out, if she name a man, right, and if she wasn't lying down on the red couch, come out in the public and say how much parents and collect the school grant, the uniform grant, and in she tenure, and tell me how much CPEP workers was treated the way they're supposed to be treated by getting PPE, right, and better medical. They didn't give them nothing. Then Stuart Young, you're seeing, when I see on this program, that it's easy to see how much gas we have and where the shortfall money going. You see all of a sudden Woodside say that it is a $6 billion, right? And then it gone to $1 billion US. Era Stuart Young make it up. And they come up and they talk about it. But that's the other day when somebody was enjoying a misprint. He said to come out, all of a sudden Shell come out in the humanity field and say they ramp it up by 10%. Where that 10% all of a sudden come? And why it could not be, where that money gone? Then the cabinet brief meeting this evening, they want to know how it is that from 49,000 barrels, we add on 5,000 barrels more. Because I call for energy inspectors to go to the field, because far too long, Rowley government was doing the wrong measures and giving the wrong barrels per day, and they were running away with the treasury. So you see, Uncle Lennox, the trend in there in the ministry is a glitch for 2.7 billion. Stuart Young, $1 billion are glitch with Woodside. And then Gatsby Dolly could say, history will be kind of my political leader and Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Gatsby Dolly, everybody don't win in this country, you know, when UNC win, because all the stinking property tax for a little shantytown 10 by 10, all the finance ministers say that worth $18 million in rental, you know, and divide it and give you that money, which add up to about $700 for the year. So that is $700 minimum. A CPEP mother, a CPEP single mother, who have a little squatter house, save. So everybody win. And then the demerit points, it move. That's only for criminal negligence, it remain. And then we could go to the inspection pit and get ease up after I go in license office. What I was doing just 2 months ago in school, you should be the last person to talk about children and the PNM. All they kill 18. All they kill 18 because the regional authority didn't sanitize, didn't get money. And I want Uncle Lennox to ask the Minister of Homeland Security to make the report at the fire in Arima who killed a member of parliament. I want to know, because there's a member of parliament. Make it public. What went on? And then we see how the PNM used to take care of people that a minister had to death with lack of water. And you know what's the next one I want to tell you, Uncle Lennox? I will bore everybody belly tonight. Right? You see, when PNM come out and they want to talk my Prime Minister bad and saying that rum is the only old talk, all they give, the PNM give the public 4 marijuana tree, 30 grams, and it was open for anybody. And I want all to know the scientific research, what went into it, is that the children who attended school in kindergarten, they focus, the mentality and the attitude and the IQ is not there. That's why my political leader say she's going to do a social and mental test to see the child, and we regulate it. And Uncle Lennox, before I leave, I would like I endorse my political leader and esteemed Prime Minister, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, SC, as leader to move us until she term expire in Jesus' name. And God bless you. And everybody, let's rally around our leader and our party, because the PNM have no drugs and they don't start a campaign for the local election. Then we tell them, not, how will I say it? In hell. Good night, Uncle Lennox.
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. And you know, I cannot help but of course making the comment. It may sound, according to English terminology, like tautology, or repetitive if you are probably in Parliament, or indeed, if it is, of course, exacerbation, if, of course, you are someone who would prefer to have something repeated over and over, and it may well be, of course, overdosing or over presentation. But the fact of the matter is that here it is, we have a comprehensive opening salvo by a caller. I'm supposed to be doing that, but here it is, we have some very intelligent, in other words, callers who are well researched. There's very little to add, except, of course, other callers may want to comment on some of the issues that would have been raised. But the fact is, what could happen, you could only add, but of course, certainly in terms of conciseness, and in terms of chronology, and in terms of analytical projection, I tell you me, I am extremely, of course, pleased and elated, as well as honored to have such individuals on this program, because we need to be able to edify. We need to be able to concisely and at times comprehensively look at issues, and sometimes, of course, with a rapidity and with a diversity that would be easy to comprehend, or at least some would be able to stick in the minds, because they are so real to our existence today. So I want to thank, of course, Mr. Faizabad for those kinds of that kind of approach, because he normally would not have a one subject issue, but he will have a multiple of issues, and that, of course, could be the basis for other persons, of course, capitalizing, or should I say, emphasizing on some of the areas that may not have been elaborated upon. So that being as it may, let me say that I am very, very, very elated once again to be here. I want to tell you as well that, of course, tomorrow morning up front, we'll have a press conference again on George Street, where our facility is, but of a different kind. We have, of course, the coordinator of the LFL, Lavantil for Lavantillian, being the chairperson of that press conference. Of course, as you know, he would also be wearing the cap of the Deputy Political Leader of Love, but nonetheless, Dada Gabriel, very capable and able. We will be launching, of course, and of course pleading at the same time, pleading the situation. Yes, indeed. He will be, of course, presenting a free Wi-Fi agenda that we would be servicing the immediate vicinity. We will want to expand it to other parts of, but I'm sure it will benefit George Street, Nelson Street in particular, and parts of Charlotte Street. I'm sure of that because of the reach of the facility or the service that we would be acquiring at our expense. But it's free. Tomorrow, of course, we will, in the press conference, we will hang up the sign. We'll hang up the sign with respect, of course, to free, and of course, giving the what? Some people call it code, but some also call it, I think more appropriately, it is called the special number, or the special identifying numbers and of course letters to give the ordinary person. And I have no difficulty in saying whether you are vagrant, whether you want to call yourself a displaced person, and you see the sign there, because it will be offered 24/7. So you can come right outside the facility, not too far from the facility, and you have a smartphone. You'll be able, of course, because you have the password, which is on the facility itself outside. It will be, of course, laminated so that water and the elements will not affect it, and it will be placed there so that if you have your smartphone, you can come and you need to get some information, whether it's day or night, you'll be able, of course, to benefit from that. I suppose a lot of people will benefit from WhatsApp. You know, they like to call WhatsApp because that is free via, of course, the internet. Well, we have no constraints. Of course, if we are seeing it abused, and if we are seeing it, of course, overloaded and so on, so that it defeats the purpose for which we intended it, then, of course, we'll have to make certain adjustments in terms of periods of the day, that kind of thing. So we have a contingency just in case there is an abuse. But I think for the commencement, we will leave it open night and day. And of course, you just come close to the facility, or you stay over on Nelson Street, or you stay some part of George Street. Once, of course, it can reach you, and you will be the beneficiary of this facility, free Wi-Fi for the community. And why we are saying that? We are saying that because of the reintroduction of the laptops to first formers by this government. Pleasant good night, my friend. Of course, I am on corridor transformation now, but I can talk to you if it is nothing personal. Huh? What's that? I say I will talk with you if it's nothing personal, because the whole world will be hearing what you have to say.
Right.
Well, I'll call you back after the program then. We finish at 9:30. All right?
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I know this is a personal call, so I had to preempt and to, of course, inform. Otherwise, I will be, of course, ambushing the individual. I know that individual doesn't like to speak in public too much, but of course, he called at this time, hoping probably that, not knowing that I would be, of course, on air at this time. Right? So that will be happening. Of course, a very important part of it. We are going to be communicating with the Chief Justice. I don't care what people say. We will be communicating with the Chief Magistrate as well. When I come back, we will deal with that. I'll tell you why afterwards. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox, and good night to everyone, all your listeners.
Night, my friend.
Report here.
Yes.
Lennox, you ever see ants, biting ants get wings?
Biting ants get wings, yeah. Sometimes when they are in danger or when they are engaged in probably in moving from one point to the next, they suddenly get wings. But go ahead, let me hear what you had to say.
Well, when biting ants get wings is ready, when they're ready to die. And that is what happened to the PNM right now. All of them get wings.
All right. In the context of biting ants. Go ahead.
All of them get wings now.
Yes.
All of them know everything. Everybody want to know how much Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa spend to bring the Indian Prime Minister here. But when that Tutu, leader Tutu come here, how much they spend? And how much they used to spend when they go into Venezuela? Nobody is saying that, right? And Lennox, something happening now, boy, and I don't know how all you could handle it.
Tell me.
Because I understand people going in to get little URP work and thing, and the person who they encounter with, they want party card.
They want
and
what?
I feel that is so unjust to people.
They want what? They want
because
what? Where you say they want?
Party card.
Party card, okay. All right, okay.
Yes. Because when it was for election time, nobody is saying, well, you have to have a party card to vote. You have to have a party card to vote.
Yeah.
Now when you get in power, those people who supposed to be doing the right thing, they're behaving like the PNM now. And
right.
I don't think Ms. Kamala Prasad
I'll have to look into that. I got some information with respect to that, but the opposite was the case, where they are claiming that they are interviewing known PNM people for different positions in URP. So you see how information flows in different directions depending on who it's coming from. But go ahead.
Right, because somebody complained to me yesterday.
Okay.
That they went in to look to see if they get a ARP job, and they tell them they have to have a party card.
All right. We look into that because that ought not to be people who, ordinary persons who are looking to put food on the table because they are in a state of abject need, cannot be subjected to some kind of scrutiny or criteria that many people may not meet because they would not have a party card, for example. Even if they support the party, they may not have a party card. So is difficult. That is difficult for me, and of course we'll have to look into that. Go ahead.
Well, is a lot of people support the party and don't have a party card. I don't have a party card.
This is what I'm saying.
And I
am not a UNC item myself, but therefore doesn't have a party card. So that the whole idea of having to produce a party card to get a URP job, and I want to talk about a little bit about URP and the CPEP and at the lowest rung, at the labor rung, at the person who may be paid as a tradesperson, maybe cutting some, being skilled with a worker or being a carpenter and so on. And we need to put that to rest once and for all, because we are here in Laventille. I mean, you are down in Central and you're not so dependent on that particular program, but I want to disabuse some of the notions that people have about those programs. But go ahead.
Well, the person who depend on that program or who looking for something, the person is a single mother with two little children.
Right. Yeah, and that is where you have to accommodate. Person walks off the street, and that program, from my understanding, the European particular was supposed to satisfy that. A fella come out from jail, for example, and is, it would be very difficult for him to get a job. He finds himself there in order to tidy him over. But of course, it's not a job per se, but it's always a tidying over or interim or a very short stint, because of course there are certain limitations to how much you can get in that program as a laborer and as an ordinary person in the program seeking, of course, to put food on the table. But go ahead.
Yes, so when I hear that, I went into my MP office yesterday and I complained about it.
Okay.
I make a report, and you know what I hear?
Yeah.
They say the machine to print that party card broke down a little while now.
Right, so even if you make an application, even if you make an application and you expected one, you wouldn't be able to have it because the machine to print it break down, and you would have done all of the what I consider to be the necessaries in order to become a formal member, a party card holding member, I should say.
Right, and it has some people saying if you don't have a party card, you can't get a thing. But that is unfair. That is unfair. It's
but I want to
take that. I want to
take that with a huge pinch of salt right now. I have no evidence of that, except of course, as I say, I have evidence to show where I reliably informed that of course persons are being interviewed that are seen to be P&M oriented, but for political position, and I will have a problem with that, because no rank ostensibly evidence presence individual that is of the P&M, as far as I'm concerned, must not have any political office in the public or private sector, as the case may be. Well, in the public sector, because I mean this is government we are talking about, so this is taxpayers' money. But they won an election, and therefore, of course, they must be given the opportunity to manage the affairs of the country. And when the next opportunity presents itself, the people will say whether or not they did well. Right?
Well, the UNC for the election coming up, they didn't put things in place for everybody to get a party card. So why now these people?
Yeah. So I want to leave that issue here, Mr. Freeport. I want to leave that issue here, right? We have to verify that because, as I said, I have a different city here on the corridor transformation. So I think we have exhausted that particular aspect. Any other issue you want to raise?
Well, just now, before you go, I believe it is across the border, because I hear a blogger from Point 14 talking about it too. So
all right, I don't know. You see, we are smart enough to know that could be a P&M infiltrated propaganda structure. Let me put it that way, or intervention. You see, so I have to be very, very, very careful, and you must also be very careful as well as to when you take in these kinds of information to suggest that that is gospel when in fact we have no solid evidence.
All right. Hopefully before next week finish, I would get the evidence.
Thank you very much.
Because
I appreciate that.
I tell the person what to do, but I tell them, do not let nobody know what you're doing.
Okay, good, great. All right, so let me go because I have another caller. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Of course. Let's go to the line. What's happening here? All right. We have two persons on the line. I want to take off one. Let's see. All right. Let's go again. All right. Let's go again. Of course.
Good night, Lennox caller from Library.
Yes.
I know, no, not too long. Each home and I know tune into your program.
All right.
I just have one question.
Go ahead.
How long are you gonna take again for the mosquito quick to finish, boy? Since
mosquito-
before
the-
April, since
mos-
March, April.
The mosquito crack?
Who looking into that? What is the cost of the project? That them working since what? March? Before March? Around February they
Yeah,
started.
the mosquito crack. The mosquito crack.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay,
The
all right.
crack, yeah.
That fell into
creek.
the swamp below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the part that sing down? What going on?
Yeah.
with that?
I know you're talking about.
That's Sammy.
Yeah,
How
that's
much billions are costing people as well as
Yeah,
cause congestion
yeah.
during the morning and the evening time?
yeah. Okay, well, we will look into it. We look into it. All right.
They're looking at it now. Let people we want to know, but it's a good program.
Thank
You
you.
guys
Thank
doing
you.
a good job.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, bye.
Thank you. Yes. Bye bye.
Take care.
All right. Let me just get. All right. Let me get Tobago here. Hope I have Tobago on now. Tobago, are you there? All right. It seems as though there's a problem. All right. Tobago, call back. I observed that it is a caller from Tobago, and there Mr. San Fernando. My apology, and I think there was another one on the handset. I tried to get everybody on the system itself. Some people say that it is unprofessional, but of course I have no choice. I had to improvise until, of course, we get a system where we can have calls lined up in such a way that I don't have to refer to, of course, the handset because we don't have a waiting system. But let's go again. That being as it may, of course, we still have to work. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night. I wasn't really coming on, but when I hear this fella talking about party card,
Yes.
that is something good to me at all. Because I believe this is about hearsay and hearsay.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. That's why I told him, let's cut that conversation short here.
Making it look like if it is truth, right?
Yeah.
And he wouldn't give up talking the nonsense and thing about you have to get a party card with UNC and all that kind of nonsense, right? That get me kind of vexed, right? And you have to understand, when he's saying these things, he had to plan for home, right?
Yeah.
And let me say something about PNM right now.
Go ahead.
Because you see, tonight are mad, right? Now, these people trying to separate the black man from the Indian, right?
Right.
And let me tell you something. Black people have suffered so much in the 10 years under PNM that the same black people vote them out. So what all you want with the black people, we don't want all anymore. The people who following them right now, let Beckers put property tax on them, so. Let them pay property tax because they're foolish. It's time for black people to know themselves, right? It's time for black people to know themselves. It's time for black people to know what wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We're still lost. We have never gone through slavery and we're acting like if we're in slavery. All you don't know nothing about slavery. Slavery was abolished, right? So black people, my people, let me stand strong. Let me stand with camera beside business. Let me try to bring back Trinidad and Tobago as it was. Let us be happy again. Let us learn to laugh again. Let us learn to hug one another again. We can do it. If other countries can do it, we can do it too. Black people, put down about the young people asking earlier, put down the marijuana. It's good for you, right? And put down the gun. Put down the marijuana, put down the gun, and everything will be fair on this earth for all of us to live. Right? No house invasion and this kind of thing. Don't take away the old people pension. Let her live too. Let her be happy too. There was once young like me and you, right? You have to remember that. And may God bless Trinidad and Tobago, and may God bless the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamala Prasad Bissessa. Love go with you, my lady. Thank you.
Yes, man. People are angry, and you ought to, because you know that the entire. And how do you know how such statement is either objective in terms of its analysis or in terms of the issue that it is raising? Or is it that it is biased and tainted with some agenda? Well, I want to tell you that only the PNM will benefit from such statements, and therefore one can conclude that the culprit here is the PNM. Let's not waste time with that. But let's go to the line, because quite a lot of people here are trying to get in. I know, Mr. San Fernando, sorry about that. I think I cut you off because I was hoping I could get you on the system itself. But that being as it may, let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night, welcome.
Hey, you hear me, brother?
Loud and clear, my friend.
I thought you agreed this morning that we're going to this man say, the next party will refer the last government too.
The next party, what?
We call it the former government, the next party.
Oh, the next party, I see. Oh, yes, that's true. But, you know, sometimes the brain lapses. But it won't make any difference because people will know it's the PNM you're referring to. But go ahead. I don't think it will have any deep political difference or make any political difference, simply because the PNM has been around for too long for people not to know that is the PNM you're referring to. But go ahead.
You can extinct them with that.
Yeah.
To come up with something like that.
No, I agree. You know, there are some ideas that are before its time that are extremely brilliant. But then when you analyze it and you practicalize it, you know, it doesn't deliver the impact that you would want. So I suppose that may be one of them. But go ahead. Yeah.
And I just wanted to take my call, boy.
Yes.
So I cannot do that, but she tell them the right thing. Kamala had to go to no conference. She has capable people that could go there.
Yes.
Right? She sent Sean Sobers and Philip Alexander and Valparaiso, but in the PNM, like she said this morning, Rowley had to go to everything because he was with a bunch of shit-tongues. So he had to go there for himself, agree?
Yes.
Did they have the ability to go?
Yeah, he recruited a bunch of neophytes, depositing them on the population, saying that the PNM has a track record of being in government for the longest. Full stop. You see, because when you examine the quality, when you examine the delivery, when you examine Trinidad and Tobago's development, you must say that, of course, all the money that passed through Trinidad and Tobago was like several doses of Senean salts, or even as some people may want to call it castor oil, maybe castor oil as well. But the fact is that we're supposed to be the Dubai of the West or the Singapore of the West. That's the point I want to make. Go ahead.
And I heard her call on the government vote.
Yes.
And she talked about Singapore. Like yesterday. And she really need money for pharmacies and all this thing. I want to tell her that college she's listening. Actually, lady, I am a former businessman. And I'm telling you, no country can run without the middleman. Trinidad and Tobago can't run without the middleman. You think fellas are trying to bring down goods here and then sell out truck on the road? You want to sell it? You depend on the middleman.
That's right. That's right.
So, when you're talking, you must think about those things. You know the amount of people them drugstores just employ? Plenty people are hurting the drugs just getting. Go and look at the supermarkets too. Onion, potato, whatever. It's trucks dropping them thing off. The middleman, the country can't exist without that. You know that, Lennox. My recollection, because I did commerce in at several levels. I have a degree, of course, in business management, but you know all of that as well. But the fact of the matter is, I remember very rudimentarily that really and truly commerce is the movement of goods and or services
from where it is plenty to where it is scarce. So therefore, if you're dealing in manufacturing of something, you could put your plant strategically anywhere. But the fact is that whatever you're producing has to reach the consumer. The only way to reach the consumer, apart from transport, is that you must have a middleman who, of course, will buy in bulk, because you want your money in order to buy more raw material and in order to produce more. So the only person to assist with that, with that perfectly and very efficaciously, is the middleman who would own the warehouses and so on. They will stock up and that kind of thing, and then of course they are prepared to send the goods and services or service to the retailer. And then, of course, we're not in the case of services, because services are more direct, like doctors and so on will deal directly. But certainly goods will go to the retailer, and then the retailer, of course, sits there in his shop, parlor, or grocery, or indeed haberdashery store outlet, and wait for the consumer to come, the ordinary shopper, and buy. And of course, the process is complete, as of course everybody is satisfied. Apart from the middleman, the middleman can pay the manufacturer in bulk. So the point I'm making, I agree with you, there must be, of course, a middleman.
Of course, they make it direct.
Yes.
Right? When potato used to come on the wharf. Garlic, onions, all these things.
Yes.
You know the amount of trucks used to line up there from the two buyers?
Yes.
But two fellas used to bring in potato. Sonny Mohammed from George Street, I think, well, you know Sonny.
Yes. My father used to work for them many moons ago, yes.
And a fella called John Gonzalez. And then if you see trucks used to be there, I had my truck there too.
Yeah, they're buying from the wholesaler.
One time.
And the wholesaler buying from the manufacturer or the large farmers. Yes, the large farmers from wherever they are in the world.
Yeah, and that used to distribute all over Trinidad.
That's right.
Jobs from Grandy Point, where everybody was one another friendly.
That's right. The retailer may have his own truck. He come down to town. Load up and get out there, and he himself may be a sub wholesaler as well. Yeah.
Well, I them try that on me, and tell me I could send on my truck, and get this thing for the certain price. I say, so you go send on your truck, just send a hold on that wharf, and when your truck needed in the business place, what you doing?
Yeah, because they want to eliminate the middleman.
Yes. When he said he said, all right.
Yeah. To cut costs and to maybe get a better deal. Yeah, but that's very few. That's very few. The rule is that you as a retailer, you purchase from the middleman, and then you think the middleman has a crucial role to play. He has a lot of money and a lot of customers as well that the manufacturer will be grateful for. Yeah.
Along this corridor, people dropping eggs, size, wherever they get it to buy from the farmer, and they supplying the supermarkets.
Yes.
You know, the supermarket, they have time to go and look for them things.
That's right.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, they go up to Makoya there, and they get, of course, Namdefco's facility, and they get their goods at wholesale price, as wholesale price. Yeah, so they could put a markup afterwards. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right.
Good. You go talk.
Yes, we'll talk. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, people. Of course, so quite a variety of topics. Of course, we discuss on this program simply because we want to edify and we want to, of course, educate. It's not that I feel that I am the repository of all knowledge or information. No, far from it. But of course, as we share and as we generate the necessary synergy, and we work in a symbiotic way, meaning that we exist for our mutual benefit. At the end of the day, the ordinary consumer of the information, they benefit as well, and Trinidad and Tobago becomes, of course, much wiser and much more alert and aware. A pleasant good night. Welcome, San Fernando. Sorry about the earlier dislodging of your call.
This morning when I called the ground report, I mean that Andy told me that make my points quick.
Yes.
But I think I need some more explanation.
All right, no problem. You can do so at your leisure, but limit, of course, on the corridor transformation. Go ahead.
All right. Now, I want to begin by telling the caller this tonight. Slavery was not really abolished, you know. That was a half-picked up that the white people discussed, you know.
All right.
When I say a half-picked up, because you see what happened, let me tell you this. When they say, as they say, they brought the law to abolish it, right? But in truth and in fact, when you look at it, right, okay, you say you give us freedom, right? But then the monies that we were supposed to collect as reparations and stuff, right? The slaves never collected it. It's the white people who collected it. The white masters, the white slave masters. So in truth and in fact, what you did, you never really, you see, slavery was social death, right? You understand? And even when, as they say, it was abolished, it was still continuing.
Yeah. And we have had overlap of that with even when by 1845, when the first indentured laborers came here, they were actually, of course, subjected because the same capitalists, if you want to call it that, would have owned the plantations, even though, of course, the slavery would have been abolished and people could have negotiated as to the price that they would be giving their labor in exchange for the money that the capitalists would offer for that service. So you're quite right. You're quite right. And then
some of them were still whipping people all over the place.
Yeah, well, because of the ignorance. You see, it is no different to today. The PNM, of course, will exploit the ordinary worker who depends on CPEP and so on, and say that they can't put the bread on the table, they can't buy school books, they can't send the children to school, etc. That is no different to what the capitalists or the slave masters would have, of course, engaged in after they could not have, of course, execute the whip in general, but there were instances where that would have occurred because they felt that the slaves or the former slaves was ignorant of their circumstance and maybe beholden to them because they can't go anywhere else, they don't own land, etc., and therefore they keep them there and subjected them to something that was supposed to be abolished. Go ahead.
And then we ended up now with what you call mental slavery.
We had what?
And then we ended up with what we call mental slavery.
Mental slavery, yes. Well, yeah, right? that would have been generic, but there are exceptions, as you rightly said, where the whip was still used.
Yeah, right. So, okay, now that we putting aside that, but as I was explaining this morning, I want to go down the road with not just the white tech thing, but it deals with employment and it deals with the way the PNM government handled the situation of the economy. And two statements. One was made by Rowley and another one was made by Dolly Gadsby. Right? And you could see clearly, when I tell you the two statements, you could see the contradiction in the whole thing. Right? But I want to begin by saying that you need a workforce. So therefore, you need to be training people in order so that, okay, if you train people from now, next year you will have a workforce. When I say a workforce, if the government decides to put out money to train thousands of people, by next year or the year after, you will have a workforce to continue going, so that you could that's your bank.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now, when Rowley made the statement I can't remember exactly where he made it, but he said, you better wean off the government.
Yes. Right? He made it coincidentally, and today, of course, we see that that cycle repeated in Laventille.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So what he was telling people is that how to put it? We know of the government because he knew that the economy had crashed. Follow me?
Yeah.
Right. Now, when you watch at that statement and you watch at the one that Gatsby Dolly made in Parliament,
Yeah.
right? She was saying that she can't see the crash. So you understand the contrariness?
Yeah, I hear you, but I will make my comment after you would have concluded your argument. Yeah.
So my argument is those two statements, it's contrary to one another.
It contradicts each other. All right.
Yeah.
Can't see the crash. Yeah.
It contradicts one another.
Yeah.
So, no, I would go down the road. Remember, I was saying that you need a workforce, right? So you can't tell me that Rowley, or how should I say it? Rowley never had a plan to really develop the country, because you need a workforce to push your economy forward. And if you don't have that, then we're in problems.
All right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
something like White would have created that thing because
Yeah, fill that vacuum. The need for upgrading skills and capacity building, and to respond, of course, to changes, technology, etc., in order to, of course, make Trinidad and Tobago diversify in a real way, rather than, of course, being stymied and being in a state of paradigm paralysis. As Rowley from time to time will talk about diversification, but at the same time say that we are solely dependent on, of course, that mono product of that is produced from hydrocarbons that God gave us, whether it's oil, gas, or petrochemicals. Go ahead. Yes.
So my argument is, over the last 9-10 years, right? What has because Whitehead had built intake courses like tourism. So if you have 1,000 people per year coming out of a course in Whitehead, like tourism.
Yes.
And then you didn't only have tourism, you had like leathercraft, you had business management, and you had all of that, right? We would have had a good workforce today.
If it was structured and specifically designed to treat with that, but it was a helter-skelter. I have it there because I want to say that I want to say when it is convenient that, listen, we training people when in fact the training could be considered to be nebulous, misdirected, and it doesn't, of course, cater for the futuristic and the immediate needs of the country as far as the labor force is concerned, and getting it ready for serious work and development.
Serious work.
Okay.
So what was people like Randall Mitchell and all of them doing in the Ministry of Tourism? Sitting down on the behind.
Yeah, but it looked as though they were producing these acronyms, I will call it, hype, MyLap, MyTap. Is they invented that, the only one they didn't invent was YTAP, which of course has been there from since the NAR days. But certainly all of the others, the CPEP, and you name it, they come up with these acronyms, but really and truly at the end of the day, to do exactly what you are saying there, to improve and to develop the skills capacity and the general capacity building of the country, so as to make it ready for the challenges of a modern and futuristic world. But it turns out always to be, of course, an exercise in futility. Yeah.
So this is my contribution.
All right. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Well, I'm glad that you got a chance to get it off your chest. And it is a pleasure to have made a contribution as well.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All right, bye-bye. Yes. Yes. There's one area that I want to focus on, of course, based on what the caller has presented to us, and that is whether or not when he came up to Laventille and say that people should wean off the government, whether or not he realized that the economy or the country had crashed. I don't think so in totality. What transpired there, he was not prepared to meet the challenges. So when people call him a lazy fella, it is that specific reference that one can look at and that particular instance. Because if it is, take for instance, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, she says, well, listen, right now, she said, listen, we met all of the ministries, financial resources, fiscal resources, budgeted resources, in deficit, exhausted. But she said, we have to deal with it. Rowley goes up to Laventille and say, we know of the government. Easy way out. She didn't say that. And that is what you look for in a government. Whatever the challenges are, whatever the circumstances are, you have been elected to treat with it by the electorate. You cannot now say, as Rowley did, we know of the government, and they, happy like pappy, they continue to get the resources, the benefits that is expected and that has been catered for by law and otherwise, for persons like them to manage our affairs and to meet the challenges of the society, and you simply tell us, we know of the government. It cannot be. And we have seen, of course, the disaster of that kind of behavior, because what the PNM turned out to be, as I have always said, a criminal enterprise. Because it's a bunch of hustlers that were only put together, including himself, in order to fleece and to feast off the resources of the country, the treasury of the country. And he employed, of course, like Alibaba and the several thieves to, of course, and because they have the protection of the law, having, of course, questionably won elections in 2015 and 2020, questionably, they then proceed to line their own pockets, friends, family, and finances. And don't tell me I don't understand what I'm talking about, because, of course, it is under the PNM that, of course, the idea and the concept and the definition of the 1% came. So it is clear that he didn't want to work. And you don't want people like that, because eventually your economy will crash, as it did. But he didn't meet a crashed economy. He made an economy that needed adjustments. That's what he meant. And he was not prepared, the PNM was not prepared to adjust accordingly. We know, of course, of the financial meltdown in 2008. We know of the drastic reduction in the price of oil and gas by 2014, 2015, when Rowley came in. We know that too. But I'm going to show you where Kamala Prasad Bisesa by 2014, so she had a taste of the reduction in the major commodity that we offer on the international market in order for us to earn foreign exchange, oil, gas, petrochemical. And when we compare the approach of the UNC, then, of course, partnership, getting, of course, the beginning stages, let's say, of the drastic by half reduction in the price of a barrel of oil on which, of course, we base our economy and therefore even our budget, even to today. Gas, of course, being maybe a superior measurement, because we had eventually evolved into a gas economy, but we still measure our fortunes based on a barrel of oil, the price of a barrel of oil. When the barrel of oil was reduced by 2014 from about $100 to about $44, or for convenience, let's say half that, so $50. What did Kamala Persad-Bissessar do? What did the UNC do with its partner? It went, of course, to the public first and foremost and said to the public, we are going to have to make adjustments first and foremost. Not to say that, of course, we know of the government. You have to explain why. First and foremost, you have to put the thing in perspective. We know of the government songs as a dictator who has, of course, a treasure chest, and they decide, well, listen, I'm going to give the people pittance, and you have to accept that. That's how Rowley song. But Kamala Persad-Bissessar came to the population and said, listen, our fortunes have devastatingly been reduced in terms of a barrel of oil from $100 to $50 by 2014. And therefore what we will do, I've asked every ministry to reduce their expenditure by $7 million, every single ministry, except the Ministry of the People and Social Development. I am going there because I want to show you where it has significance for today circumstance. So here it is. She said by $7 million, and that was accomplished. However, by the time the year ended, and of course into 2015, election came, but that was, of course, the position of the UNC in that first, of course, drastic reduction and the economic meltdown, if you want to call that visited Trinidad and Tobago at that time. We'll go on to the rest where Rowley and how Rowley approach was. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, welcome. You hear me? Loud and clear.
I hear you, but I cannot have noise too.
A noise in the background, mate? No.
Yeah.
I don't know why is that. I'm not. I don't have anything on.
Okay. I wouldn't be long. So
it might be on your side. It might be on your side. I ain't seen anything here to suggest that. But go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Lennox, listen. I saw a briefing this evening here with Dr. Munilal, and they were giving they were briefing the country basically on a number of issues.
Okay.
And what Munilal speak again about the Stuart Young, Mr. Stuart Young. You telling me $1 billion US, which is 7 billion TT, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you that note that you took the cabinet, that was a mistake. We do, you know, so all was siphoning money out of the country all the time then. Yeah, because that is the perception that we, the citizens out here, getting, you know, that all this was siphoning money, right? And if it turned out to be that, which we believe is that, you understand? All this sure, all the fellas had to make a jail in this country because they not only theft, like treason. You understand? All the fellas to evil, why? Boy, I
so
don't
that
know
was
this case, but
$1 billion,
really had to put on the foot.
mistake, you say? A mistake, is that it was?
Mr. Munila was saying that it was $1 billion US.
Yes.
Right? Which is 7 billion TT.
Right, yes, multiplied by 7, yes.
Right? And Stuart took that, he was taking that note. That is what Trinidad and Tobago lose. right?
Oh.
And what he was saying is that somebody alerted him to it, and when they discover it, right? The question still begs the question, right? Was it really a genuine mistake, or was it just theft and siphoning money? You understand? I
see.
think they're gonna send them things to the police.
Yes, I hear you. I get where you're coming from. Of course, I'll get a hold of that piece of information in time for tomorrow's Go report. So stay tuned.
Yes. The briefing was this evening. So you can check it out where Mr. Molina was speaking about it.
I certainly will, my friend. Thank you very much. And that's why I say, of course, I don't claim to be, and nobody should claim to be, of course, the repository of all information. Remember, I always give the analogy where, of course, in school about Form 3, somebody told me that, of course, William is the brightest man in the world. But I tell them flat, I want to see him. I want to see that man, because if he's the brightest man in the world, I want to see. So that's what I want to see him for. I said, I want to ask him one question. Where's my mother's name? Yeah, he's so bright.
Exactly.
Oh, you know everything. Since you know everything, where's my mother's name? Right? A simple thing like that. Yeah, everybody started to laugh because they realize where I'm coming from. That is dotage you're talking. He may be good in the field that he might have been in, as everybody else, but certainly the brightest man in the world. And you could never tell. They say the third brightest. You could never know who is the first, the second, because that is part of PNM propaganda, as we are seeing unfolding on a daily basis here with CPEP and URP, trying to use them to, of course, get political traction. But that and a pink donkey they will never see. Of course, what they will see sooner rather than before that is the blasted graves. That's what they will see. Or more precisely and more certainly, blue lights and silver bracelets.
Oh, let me leave it there, Mr. Lennox.
Yes,
God
man.
bless.
Thank you very much. Yes, man. The brightest man in the world, what? By the jokers. And incidentally, of course, I noticed that they stopped wearing the Balizé tie after we spoke here about fake and should I say ambush advertising. Because of course, when we were growing up, William had all of his ministers and parliamentary representatives wear this Balizé on the tie. And of course, that is a political symbol, and we were led to believe, and my parents and their parents as well, who might not have been as educated as we end up being, would have suggested that PNM and government is one and the same, and therefore they were so focused on the Balizé that they will go, of course, every 5 years and vote for the Balizé. But of course, over time, the UNC was able to disabuse that. Basio Pandey, of course, started the trend. Of course, before that, it was, of course, Robinson, and eventually they realized that has failed. So Christopher Rowley banned that. But of course, we saw them coming back as if, well, listen, there's some resurrection of that, what I consider to be anachronistic dotishness. Yes, anachronistic dotishness is something of the past. Well, I see they stop now because people have been complaining or observing what they're trying to do. No, that psychology, that what I consider to be latent psychology of the Balizé tie has no more mystery. We have demystified it. So therefore, waste a blasted time. Wear it now, continue to wear it, and see if we would not treat all of you with total and absolute disdain as the party relegates to, of course, the dustbin of political history in this country. They never thought they would have had, of course, people like myself who could use the social media platforms and so on in order, of course, to every day compete with those what I consider to be mechanisms of the PNM to promote their propaganda. They are becoming increasingly, that is to say, the traditional and their propaganda mainstay irrelevant, or at minimum, people have to start thinking what they say as opposed to what we say here. And I'm sure that is why we have so much participation and so much gravitation because you have reached the inescapable conclusion that the PNM will hide, whilst of course we would expose and deliver, the veracity of which can always be checked. And even when one is not inclined to, of course, check for the veracity, we tell you where to find the information, or we present it to you as is tonight. As is tonight, when of course Rowley will tell women all kind of nasty things and say nasty things about, of course, parents, and say that they produce monsters. And then he comes back and say, like in that clip when we finally play it off, that he can't change. He like a scent, it can't change. Or like a tiger can't change his stripes, or a leopard can't change the spots. And therefore, if he is the embodiment of the PNM, the contemporary PNM, the existential PNM, the present day PNM, then what the hell are you looking at them for? They are stuck in a paradigm paralysis, and leave them there to wither away and to, of course, become emaciated, thin, and of course, becoming, as we would say in forensic, a cadaver. Cadaver, dead and rotten solid. Rotten solid. Yes, cadaver. But let's get back, of course, to the point where it was Rowley's turn in 2015 now to adjust. But he goes up to Laventil and say, listen, we know the government. Government can't do this and can't do that. But when he was fighting Manning, he said that not a fella or a woman in Bitam Silats, in Diego Martin, his own constituency, got a job on Napa and Sapa and the diplomatic center. He said that. He said that. And only 100% Chinese. Well, when he came in, not only did he tell us we know of the government, which suggests and prepare the population for massive retrenchment. Massive retrenchment. It's not waste time. And of course, just in case you're in doubt, the Chinese became the very Chinese that he said, and he was of course castigating for the ordinary fella who would be in CPEP and URP and so on, and depending of course on a job in some construction site. He would say, then I love you. And that a fella from these places, Laventil, Bitam, Silats, and Diego Martin got a job. But he came, and the hospital, 100% Chinese. So much so, they take the money, do part of the job, and go on with the rest. 100%. He bring in, of course, a Chinese firm to, I think is, yeah, Chinese firm, yes, or it may have been some other Middle Eastern country to build several early childhood centers. I think it's a Filipino company. Gone with the money. And of course, the very market in his constituency, the fish market, which is no longer a fish market, I think is a place for kobo. In the back of it, if you go, you'll see only kobo filled in. Let me use a more, what I consider to be a more euphemistic term. Defecating on the boardwalk that was behind it. I went there and I saw people caution me, don't put your hand on that, on those lumber from which the boardwalk was constructed. Don't put your hand on that because it's Kobo Tutu. In other words, I'm being euphemistic now. Yes. But they're saying that the fish market that he spent money to, of course, construct or finally construct, because a Chinese firm, of the sort run away with our monies under PNM, of course. He built it, and today I understand that the sewer system is so devastatingly unusable that the facility itself had to be closed down from time to time. I don't know, I've not been there recently, so I want to confess that I don't know if it is up and running, but certainly a disappointment. I'm saying all of that to say, and when he got into office in 2015, told the people in Laventille, or from Laventille, the people in Trinidad and Tobago, listen, we know the government. And what he did. Remember I told you that Kamala Prasad Bissessa said cut 7 million in expenditure across the board, various ministries, except of course the Ministry of People, and there's a reason for that. And that's why I am specifying that, because I want to come back to today's situation. But let me just finish with Rowley. So what Rowley did, in a classic case now that we know of deception, semantics, the use of words to deceive, gaslighting, innuendos, downright deception. He said to the population, he asked every ministry to take away 7%. Reduce their expenditure by 7%. All of them, no exception. Wouldn't it have been better, of course, to give a specific number, what that 7% will mean? For clarity and for transparency and for a greater buy-in by the population. If he had said, as Kamala did, take 7 million from each ministry, very easy. 7% would vary from ministry to ministry, because ministries get different size budget, not so? So that's a complicated process. But it turned out that nothing of the sort took place, because the size of the budget continued, of course, to bellow. But what they did, however, they introduced a mid-year review, so as to fool us into thinking, well, listen, they cut the budget, the annual budget, from the 60 billion to 50-something billion thereabout, and say that they did well. But introduce a mid-year review and then add to it. And while I have what I consider to be proven evidence of it, but my common sense tells me that when you look at the annual budget for Trinidad and Tobago, inclusive of the mid-year review, is close to, if not above, the 60 million that he was castigating the UNC for bringing the budget up to. And therefore, he could do more with less. All that kind of hogwash, and eventually telling us that, listen, that is an impossible equation. The PNM itself is an impossible equation. You cannot today, having of course dismissed so much workers in your early days, many of whom you would have identified as political operatives, whether it be at the education facilities company, whether it be at Caroni Green, whether it be indirectly ArcelorMittal, whether it be the Shagaramas Development Corporation, and we could go on and on. In fact, the term in the political and economic lexicon of Trinidad and Tobago, introduced by Rowley to obfuscate, to camouflage, and to somehow believe that we are so stupid that we wouldn't know that they were engaged in mass retrenchment. he coined the term non-gazetted public servants. You must say, I said Rowley invented the term non-gazetted public servants. And just in case you are puzzled or you are in a state of enigma, let me tell you now what that meant, what that in reality is. It simply says that it is those unionized, well-established workers in the public sector he considers gazetted, and everybody else was expendable. And therefore what he did, he fired by saying that people's contract expired and brought in political operative, because as far as they are concerned, those persons who became expendable were persons that were hired by the outgoing UNC partnership government between 2010 and 2015. Let us not waste time. Waste time with these people who are trying, of course, to become self-cleansing, immaculate, and of course engage in a kind of bizarre catharsis, purging, self-imposed, self-serving, dangerous, evil, deceptive, wicked, and all of them are collective of dunderheads, because they believe that somehow the population under that 100,000 that left them will gravitate back to them, and them that kind of display of public buffoonery. Public buffoonery. Let me, of course, the time we say we finish at 9:30. I see it is 9:40 something now. Let me just check the time. I know that the conversation is going nice, but of course we have no program tomorrow. Don't forget. Let me just make sure on my handset. What's the time? What's the time, boy? Yes, it's 9:45. So I'll begin my conclusion. So that is where the big difference is, and the level of hypocrisy that you are seeing here, and why I mentioned, of course, the Ministry of the People and Social Development, and it has relevance to today. You see, only today, and of course I'll show it to you on Saturday. The Ministry of Social Development made an announcement that says that people who are affected by, of course, the temporary loss of work. And it's clear to me, my common sense will tell me that if you could prove that you were working CPEP, and therefore, of course, you may be affected by a fortnight or whatever it is, because let's face it, the bureaucracy and the red tape in government is such that things move very slowly. And while the month's salary would have been provided to the workers and the former contractors or the fired contractors, the fact of the matter is that putting in replacement companies will take a little time. It may go beyond the month that the government would have had, and would not have had any real obligation because they would have catered for that month. It may go on, of course, to August and possibly September. So what this government did, they didn't say, of course, we know the government. They said, listen, get your act together and come down to the ministry and get something. I mentioned that right here in George Street. And you know what? This swordfish face and ice pick mouth man called Scotland. I said, well, listen, we here on our own volition have collected, of course, information in readiness for the distribution of food cards and other things, including, of course, setting up our employment resources center. he ain't mentioned the Employment Resource Center, you know. You know what he mentioned? Mr. Smith say, and how Mr. Smith could think that the people could live on a food card. You know what I'm saying? That's what he said. So they are very eclectic, they are very selective. And of course, morally, but of course we know that that is self-serving. We know that it is about political aggrandizement. But we also know ultimately that is verbalization to no avail. Yeah, I like to say cacophonous babblings and ambulatory narratives that has no relevance in terms of the reality that they have concocted and projected to the population, particularly those that are most vulnerable in East Port-of-Spain, Laventil, Beetham, Sealots, Mova, Diego Martins, etc. Yes, along the east-west corridor, where I consider to be the third western quadrant of the east-west corridor. I divide the corridor into three thirds. From Sawa to Diego Martins, of course, you consider to be the final or the most westerly of the thirds. And of course, the middle third is from about Sawa to, let's say, Arima. And then, of course, the final third from Arima straight up to Toko. That is what we are talking about. And therefore, we must expose them for who they are, and what they have done. And that they must not, of course, try to cleanse themselves, try to purge themselves, try to engage, of course, in some kind of catharsis that has no reality in terms of their change. There is no metamorphosis. There is no evolution to something that would make us feel comforted and comfortable. The PNM is simply cursed, and they are individuals who just have a ravenousness or a propensity, a predilection for power. And when they get the power, they do us evil, as we have seen. If they were in government today, we would have had, of course, property tax to face. In a continuously shrinking economy, they have no obligation to expand it. They could just take money from us, the little that we have. And of course, increase in electricity or light bills, water rates, etc. And of course, the Revenue Authority to be the most oppressive entity. You see, I say so without fear of contradiction. You see, when they divided the HDC, yes, I come in there, into an entity, 3 entities, one of which was collection. You saw what they did. They went all over the place and terrorized the people in these houses or in these accommodations. Because they created a Gestapo within the HDC to terrorize and to harass the people who would have been their rents and or mortgages might have been in arrears. So we know this government has put that aside. Come in and of course negotiate. And I'm sure that where there are circumstances where there is absolute abject and inability to pay, even that does not qualify for eviction. But the PNM put that in place for you in HGC accommodations. Understand that whether you are a police officer, whether you are a teacher, whether you are those persons who are in the middle income bracket, but of course living in maybe more upscaled HGC facilities. That is what the PNM did to hung you down. AGC, Gestapo. So don't be fooled by Dolly and Marcel and. But let me finally say this. That they came back, of course, with another matter before the court, saying that they love the CPEP contractors. And I'm saying to you, finally, because I'll elaborate on it on Saturday, that the contractors and the PNM, the 13 blighted, they are buddies. They are conspirators against not just the UNC in terms of wanting to stay there as political appointees. I'm talking about the contractors, and not move out so that the UNC can put their people there. But I wanted the ordinary worker who is waiting to continue with their work and their employment in a CPEP contractor's domain, that you take note that the contractors that they are saying that they are representing, but utilizing your name, is saying that you represent the 10,000, when in fact it is only 300 contractors. You have to be discerning. Do not find yourself with them. Anybody have a right to go to court if they feel that they are aggrieved on any matter. But let the PNM and the contractors wallow in their own misery of ultimate, not just destruction, but ultimate failure as well. It is an exercise in futility. So Lala has, of course, brought, and I want to tell Laventilians, is another Laventil contractor that Lala and them use to go to court. But I want to tell you, it will fail as well. It will fail as well. And therefore, the workers, well done. You have stayed away from them because you were told and you were edified and you were made conscious of the plan. Because the contractors have an association with the 13, which of course is the leadership of the PNM in and out of Parliament. And therefore, they have an interest in getting back into government, but using you as a pawn in their nefarious, evil, and what I consider to be treacherous agenda. Don't get fooled. So leave them alone. Because if you go there and succumb to their evil, you may well, of course, be considered an associate, and the benefits that you would normally derive from putting food on the table may not be, particularly if you are as vociferous and as stupid in terms of the ostentatiousness of the contractor who has exposed himself, probably because he has nothing to lose. And of course, those people having everything to lose will tell them, listen, we'll use you as a test case. Notice, one or two, they use it as a test case. Test case, not as what they told us, as they boasted, that they will take, of course, collectively, them contractors who are smart, and they are all over the country. Notice none of them, Lala, Pelham Beckles, and they could get to take that bite, except, of course, a contractor from Laventil. Be careful. They are conspirators to deceive you and to give you the impression that somehow they will win an impossible victory. You know what I say? I said they will win an impossible victory. And therefore, in such circumstance, you were warned. And we appreciate, love that is, appreciate the fact that you listened. And you never joined them. When we saw the paltry obviously made up of contractors and maybe one or two persons who may be family of the contractor, we know, or people who the contractor has influenced by assistance over time, and therefore you believe that you're obligated to assist them in an exercise in futility. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. See you tomorrow. Don't forget, of course, we have a press conference tomorrow. And as I said, I didn't think I went that far for those of you who just joined us, that part of that providing to the immediate community, George Street, Nelson Street, Charlotte Street, Prince Street, free Wi-Fi, 24/7. That's what is going to be happening. And why we are doing it? Because the government says that from September, every form, one child will have what? A laptop. It means, therefore, we are right in place because laptops without Wi-Fi is a waste of time. And therefore, they can come right outside here, close. You could be a vagrant as all, as I said. You could be a displaced person. We're going to put, of course, the code outside. And, of course, we will laminate it so it will not be destroyed by the weather. And any time of the day you could come, night or day, you come and you, of course, get Wi-Fi if you have a smartphone. That is where we have to go. Give the young people a true chance and the community like this a true chance to develop. But as I said, there's something that I left out and I want to tell you now. When we did our research, we found that quite a number of young people are in court for one reason or another, some criminal charge. But the courts, now you have to go virtual. Yeah, I know, you know where I'm coming from now. It means, therefore, they can come right here with, of course, a free Wi-Fi, and they could go to court from right here. They don't have to venture out of their community, as was the case that triggered, of course, a whole state of emergency outside the Besson Street police station. And I want to go further. I'm telling you that we're going to write to the Chief Justice and the Chief Magistrate asking for this facility to become part and parcel of the process, so the courts can take note to sign their present or absent book, as the case may be. They have a book that the courts normally punish them by saying as the condition of their bail, to, of course, go to the prison, go to the station and sign a book. We will be applying to have that done right here. And with the greatest of transparency, nothing different to the police station, because going to the police station in itself, we have seen, is a risk. A police may victimize a young man. They may be in an investigation and believe that a person fit the profile, breaking into a home, for example, and the fella come to sign the book and they grab him right there and, of course, interrogate him because they believe that he doesn't have the capacity to sue them for false imprisonment, etc. We will eliminate that one time, and at the same time make the process as initiated by the court much more transparent, much more practical, and much more what I consider to be amenable to social acceptance. That's what we'll do. So understand. Serious work. Serious work. And there are other things, of course. Next week, we expected the Indian High Commission to pay us a visit as well. And we have, of course, we have made communication with the British High Commission as well. Come here and walk around and see for themselves as we pursue the specific objective of what? Of eliminating or reducing advisories against Trinidad and Tobago, because every advisory in the world, whether it be Canada, whether it be United States, or whether it be Germany, whether it be France, or whether it be the United Kingdom, all of them, when they say don't come to Trinidad, because of course we are seen as the sixth most dangerous place in the world. But if you do come, if you do decide to come as a citizen, as a tourist, as a businessman, as an investor, you come to Trinidad, don't go on Nelson Street, don't go Laventille. We aim to take that part of the advisories off the books one time, so that people can come here free, and of course knowing full well that we have people here who will make certain that they are not endangered, and so of course bring their US dollars, bring it themselves, and of course participate in the businesses that are led by, of course, a man that we sent to India, called, of course, Dada Gabriel, who is the coordinator of all of this for Laventillians. Yes, indeed. And of course, the micro businesses and the microfinancing initiative, you will see these people will come to visit across the George Street, Nelson Street, etc. You will be amazed, and therefore we hope that we can convince you to come back in East Port of Spain, patronize the various businesses, if only because we have seen the problem and we are solving the problem ourselves, and therefore we need your help, and your patronage could be come in and participate, patronize the various businesses, so that wealth creation can take place. We can employ our own young men and young women, and they themselves become, of course, security for the community and you as you visit. That is the long-term, of course, objective. Some say it is impossible. Some say, of course, it's a pipe dream. But I am an eternal optimist, and therefore I believe in the human spirit. I am, of course, a school. I believe in the school of existentialism, where, of course, the human being, because you are born into poverty, doesn't mean that you will, of course, live all of your life in poverty, but you can transform because of the spirit of the human being, and of course the God-given ability to migrate, to evolve out of the quagmire that yourselves and your family and your community may find itself. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow night I will not be here because I'll be at my favorite, of course, doing what I know best. All right? Or do what's on a Friday night. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Let us, of course, end with that video that was playing, that is still up. Let me just start from somewhere here, and then, of course, let's hear what this wicked man Rowley had to say. He said he can't change. He like a blasted scent. Let's hear him, and then, of course, we will end.
I have given from my office information to the Police Service Commission by its chairman. Why is that so difficult to understand? What the chairman does with that information is another story. How the chairman handles it is another story. So all this fancy footwork and trying to unravel and untie something, there's nothing to untie. I have given information which I believe was pertinent. I gave that information to the Service Commission. I have been to President's house. So what is the speculation about? What the president said, there's nothing to speculate about. If you want to hold it and say I should not have given that to the Service Commission, I said, well, I don't agree.
So I'm going to be doing a PhD in construction law during this period in opposition.
He even jokes that he has repairs to do on his home.
This is 40 years I've been in politics. 40 years. 40 years later, you're telling me about changing my approach to speaking to people in Tobago? If after 40 years then change now? But if you are describing and making recommendations to me that I should not say these things, one, or I should not say them.
Clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teachers.
Well, clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Well, clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters.
Just in case, of course, memory might have slipped. Don't forget tomorrow morning, the Gong Report, Andy, Michael, myself, from 6 o'clock, of course, and by 7 o'clock we are joined by Gael, the television, where, of course, we will be simulcasting. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and see you, of course, on Saturday. Bye-bye.
Young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Well, clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Well, clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas in the African jungle.
Parents who breed monsters at home and send these monsters to teach us.
Well, clip of some school children from one of our schools in the West, young girls behaving in a manner like hyenas.